Hi there, and welcome to today's episode where we talk with Therese T. Forton-Barnes about green living. So, Therese is a healthy home advocate. She's the owner at the Green Living Gurus. She has a podcast, T's Organics, where she talks about green living with tea. So today we talk about how can you start detoxifying your home, your body, your kitchen, your fridge, your life. Where can you start looking for healthier alternatives for your cleaning supplies, for your cosmetics, where to look for healthier foods, where to look for healthier supplements. So, if you're interested in really stripping a massive layer of chemicals and additives and toxins from your household, from your home, from your life, from your health, from your body, this episode is perfect for you.
But before we start the episode, and yes, it was a really great episode, here's the reminder of our newsletter that you get. The link is down below in the descriptions, and we only send it out twice a month. Like, we get tips, you get advice, we get knowledge that we have gleaned from our guests that we've had over the years. So please do subscribe and share it out to anybody who you think would enjoy that particular newsletter. And of course, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button so that we can start to have a further or bigger reach, because the more people who like our episode and who subscribe and follow our channels, we get a further reach. So please do help us to be able to reach out to as many people as possible. But now let's get on with a topic that is one of my favorite soapbox topics.
Hi, Therese.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So excited to have you on. So please take a moment to introduce yourself to our listener. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, what is your background, so we know and our listeners know what can we look forward to in this conversation.
Yeah, sure. So I live and born and raised in Buffalo, New York, which is on the opposite end of New York State from New York City, closest to Toronto. And we grew up in a household here in the 60s. My mother and father, but more so my mother, was very in tune to eating healthy organic food. But not only that, she was really concerned with the amount of chemicals being brought on the market, specifically in cleaning supplies and laundry soap. So everything was vinegar and baking soda in our house for cleaning and water. And we came home and had apples and hummus and cottage cheese for snacks after school, and not fast foods. And we were really kept away from fast foods and pizza. Well, I thought everybody ate that way. I didn't realize it. And until I started getting a little bit older, I have three older sisters and a younger brother. And we were called granola heads a little bit because my mom would keep us away from junk food. But I decided when I went to college in the 80s that I really wanted people to see how healthy this was for you and how we lived and how we ate. And we shopped at this little co-op that we still shop at this day. It's much larger now, but I went to college. I had a major in business and a minor in health. And my goal was to open up a large health food store that everybody could shop at, not just our little neighborhood, little co-op. And I had a business plan, and as most people know, the supermarket Whole Foods, which is very prominent here in the United States, and I think they are overseas. But I had a business plan for something like Whole Foods, and I didn't go that route. I went the party planning route because I was definitely the little party girl that planned all the parties when my parents weren't home. And I started planning events, and it became a big industry when I graduated from college in the 85. I planned over 700 events. I had a very great event planning business here in Western New York State. But I never lost my vision and my true love. And that was for helping people to live a healthier life and avoid these toxic chemicals. And a lot of cancer patients would come to me and ask me, and my friends would start speaking up like, is this product okay? Is this product okay? And I self-educated for the past 40 years, took courses, read every book possible. And then in the past 4 years, I have actually a podcast as well called Green Living with Tea that I've interviewed over 250 guests from around the world. So I'm constantly educating myself on the topic and wanting to learn more. But through the course of those 40 years since I've graduated from college, and I can't believe I'm saying 40 years, but I have seen the steady increase in chemicals in our society, in our world, in our food, in our home, in the products we use, and the steady rise in illnesses and specifically cancer. So it is really my true mission now to help people see this, realize it, and everybody has choices. And there's so many choices now. 10, 15 years ago, not a lot of choices, not a lot of information out there. Now there is. So it's really in everybody's hands that you can take control of your own health and what you put on your body, in your body, around you that potentially can be affecting your overall health, immune system, and well-being. And here I am on your podcast in 2025. So I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you and have this conversation and see what we can learn from you, from your years of experience, from all the research, from all the conversations with incredible people that you had on your podcast. What wisdom can we share to people who maybe are only now just starting to wake up and realize, or maybe this podcast episode will be the first time when they will be like, oh, wait a minute, let me think about it. This is interesting. For me, it's a similar journey to you. I grew up on a farm, so we grew up lots of our own produce. We often live very in tune with nature, and we try to, always find some of the old folk tales, the generation upon generation passing on how things have been done before we started really bringing in the chemicals, before we really started bringing in the artificial solutions. So for me, as you, this more of a healthy, natural, in tune with nature life has been automatic. It's been normal. And similar to as I went to uni and I traveled abroad, has been immersed into the more city life and into the more worldly life. I realized that how many people do not realize, be it the food we eat, how much chemicals is in there, be it, yes, the cleaning supplies. For me right now, it is the personal cosmetics. I pretty much don't wear any makeup anymore, and I'm really careful with what are the brands I'm using for, the minimal amount of kind of personal hygiene and hair care and body care. Honestly, my favorite thing ever is a coconut oil. Like I can use it
Yes.
for pretty much anything. I
Everything.
love
Yep.
that. So if there are people out there listening, and if we haven't put them off just yet, where can we start? Because there's so much we could be thinking about, looking about, considering. And if someone is just starting on this journey, they're only now opening their eyes and starting to look at the labels and think, what are maybe some of the quick wins, or what are the things that are probably the most dangerous and easiest often to replace that they can start with?
Yes, absolutely. The first thing I want to say before I even go into where they should start is don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like, oh my God, I've been poisoning myself for 20 years. Put that aside. Do not worry about that. There's always changes that can be made today that are going to help you tomorrow. And a lot of the easy ones are very simple changes. Some people are like, oh, is it going to cost me money? Well, you're going to save money. So many people spend so much money, and I'm going to start with cleaning supplies. So much money on cleaning supplies. As I mentioned, when we grew up, we used vinegar and baking soda. We didn't use chemicals. We didn't use Clorox. We didn't use all these brands out there. And worldwide, whether they're 409 or whatever they're called, on that shelf, in that aisle of that supermarket, when you walk down that aisle, and I'm sure this is the same where both of you live, you smell a very toxic smell. And those are all those bottles of, whether it's for windows, floors, toilets, ceilings. I'm joking there, but I'm surprised there's not something just for ceilings, because they make it so you have to buy something for everything. And you don't. You do not have to buy something for everything. The marketing of these products to make you think things have to get cleaned, and that's only the way they're going to get cleaned. That is their marketing scheme. I have not cleaned anything except with vinegar and water. Is it why my husband and I never get sick? Potentially. So many of these chemicals are affecting our immune systems. They're getting into our bodies and affecting every organ potentially. So the cleaning supplies is the first place I start with. I try to get people to realize, if you really want to make a drastic change, make your own. I still make my own. I actually have a product line that I sell that is only sold in the United States. So sorry about that, but it's so easy. It's vinegar, water, and essential oils. It's nothing more than that. And the essential oils, we're very lucky to have essential oils, because there's in various different essential oils, there's properties that are antibacterial, antiviral. So you have to do a little bit of research on there, but you could probably even Google, how do I make my own all-purpose cleaner for my house with using essential oils and vinegar and water? And it will tell you 7 essential oils I use: rosemary, ginger, lemon, orange, cinnamon, and I can't remember the other one, but that's the smell is amazing. And that's where I try to get people to make a change there, because a lot of people are spraying counters all the time and washing their floors and whatnot, and thinking that they need to, kill germs on the counters for their kids. And then what's going on the counters? Your kids' hands, possibly a piece of fruit, picking up these chemicals that are also in the air in your home. So that's where I think people can make the first change. It's sometimes hard. Some people are addicted to fragrance in some of these products, and I believe that it's similar across the globe, but fragrance is in the United States, just so you know, which we put the word fragrance on a container of anything, whether it's hairspray, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, lotion. If it says fragrance, that company does not have to tell you the ingredients in that fragrance. So people think it's lemon scented, right? Nothing is lemon scented unless it says lemons. And if it says made with lemons, essential oils, anything made with, you have to be careful of that as well. These are schemes. These are marketing schemes by companies that know what they're doing, want you to believe that it's safe and okay. And they might even be packaging it in brown or green to make you think it's a lemon plant on the front, right? But these are just things that you have to pay attention to. What is on that label? What are you spraying in your home that you're breathing in every single day? Fragrance, again, going back to the United States, since the 1940s, is a law that you do not have to tell what is in that product, because it's a trade secret from Chanel No. 5, the perfume company, that said we do not want to tell what is in our perfume. So it's a trade secret. And they said, okay, so of course, all these companies jump on that bandwagon and they use the word fragrance. It is probably the number one thing. If you can get rid of fragrance in the products you use, in the laundry detergent that you use that you think is lemon or lime scented or rose scented, there are hundreds of chemicals that are used in these fragrance concoctions. They are made in a chemical lab, and they buy this chemical concoction and put it in what you're using to clean with. And specifically, the other area to really pay attention to is your laundry soap, what you're using there, because that's where a lot of chemicals are being dumped. And then you're breathing them in all day. You're sleeping in them in your sheets. They're outgassing in your home. So those are two areas that cleaning supplies and laundry. I haven't even touched on food, right? But those areas that's where I get people to make changes first. The majority of the time, actually, no, I'm telling you, 99% of the time, everybody can't believe that they were using all these products for all those years, breathing better, sleeping better, not waking up with sore throats, not waking up feeling congested because you're trying to sleep, but you're breathing in all these chemicals that are on your pillows, right? Pillowcase. So, and they're VOCs, which you do not want to be breathing in your home, and chemicals that are outgassing. So it's the hardest thing for me to get people to break away from, because when people have an association to a scent, that's potentially what their parents used on their laundry to grow up with, and you think this is outdoor fresh air. It's not. Take your clothes and hang them outdoors in the summertime. That's fresh air. That's how it should smell, not how these companies are trying to make you believe it should smell. So, and if you're scared to do it, sometimes it's hard with families and kids. They get used to it and they think, oh no, that's a fresh smell. None of that is fresh smell. That is dirty smells, we like to say. But take everything you clean with, put it in a plastic bag, tie it really good, put it in the basement. Find a healthy all-purpose cleaner. Just clean with that. What are you going to clean your toilets with? Use baking soda. I use Dr. Bronner's. I think Dr. Bronner's is worldwide. I don't even know about that, but it's pure Castile soap. It's not made with all these other chemicals to clean with. So start with a new all-purpose cleaner. Get a laundry soap that doesn't have all these chemicals on it that you barely can pronounce. Get rid of the fragrance. Test everything on your household for a month or two. See how you're sleeping, see how you feel. And then I guarantee you 99%, I'll say guarantee. If you really want to go back to that old chemical smell, you will start seeing how much better you feel. People don't understand. A lot of people don't realize they're not feeling well until they feel better. And they don't realize, they wake up in the morning with a sore throat or scratchy throat or sinuses. Oh, my allergies. Those are potentially all the chemicals that are outgassing in your room. So that was a long answer to your question. Sorry, but that is one of my biggest concerns about changing your overall daily routine, pretty much, and making a big, big difference in your household. And by the way, the laundry soap, people say, well, what do you use? I buy them on Amazon. I don't know if they sell them in the UK or Lenka, where you are in Spain or overseas anywhere, but you can look on Amazon. But the one that I love the most is Molly's Suds. Molly Suds, it's just very simple ingredients. Everyone's like, do you get your clothes clean? I'm like, yeah, my clothes are clean and they don't smell like chemicals. But seventh generation is pretty much around the world right now, because I believe that they are. Not the best of the best, but not the worst either. Definitely buy the fragrance-free ones if that's the only thing you can find. But, wherever you are in this world, Google it. And you should be able to find something no matter where you live. Go to a health food store. That's where you should start. Go to a health food store and talk to them. Ask them. See what they suggest. Because typically anybody in a health food store will have advice and knowledge on laundry detergent and cleaning supplies.
I think it's a fantastic answer that you've given us and lots of insights and some very practical tips. Absolutely loved it. And one thing that really popped in my mind as you were talking about the fragrance, it's yes, marketing and companies have this tendency to enhance things with even more chemicals. And one of my pet peeves is like tissues with like balsam or some sort of additives. I'm like, yes, of course I want like paper tissues, paper towels, like simple things that I can quickly, especially here in a van, just grab and clean the surfaces with. But I do not need to be putting on my nose, on my body, anywhere on my surfaces. And I think, why do I like tissue is just paper. It's just a very simple process paper that should be natural. Like, but we don't need any additives. And you were talking about, so many things we try to enhance for the look and the feel and everything, that we just add things on to make them smell better, sound better. We can add a higher price tag on there. Companies can always higher up the price tag. And also, as you were talking about, it's a habit to break, started thinking about, some people really are desperate to feel the smell of the chemicals. That's the only feeling that we feel that we are safe and clean and really getting rid of all the germs is if we can smell the toxic smell. And I do think that, the pandemic that we've all been through has possibly made us even more sterile and obsessed with, disinfection and hand sanitizers and surface sanitizers. And I understand that at some point in the peak of a pandemic, some of these have been helpful, but not for daily usage in our household. I would love for you, to talk maybe about, is there a place for us to use something like, antibacterial hand gels or things like that, when we're out and about, when we're going to hospital, when we're going to places where we might encounter something quite resistant and strong? Because I can imagine that if you have a clean household and you clean with natural supplies, your house will be clean enough for you and your immune system will get used to it and will be okay with that. But is there still space for us to use some of the hardcore antibacterial solutions?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the hardcore antibacterial solutions, as you could well imagine. They're made up of all chemicals. There are some on the market that aren't hardcore. I actually, during the pandemic, made my own. There are different, DIY, do-it-yourself recipes online that you can easily find to make, I don't like to say antibacterial because it's getting rid of good bacteria too. So all bacteria is not bad. But again, a health food store, if you don't want to make your own, will have, because I know I have some friends that are constantly spraying this stuff on their hands and they have a germophobic personality. They think everything's germs. So, so on that note, I would be, yes, because of the pandemic, the amount of the antibacterial products that were out there. I mean, companies knew, they bought right into that. They're like, let's produce, all these antibacterial products. Everybody's going to buy them. And they did. And the amount that were handed out free at events. And one couple times my husband would come home. I'm like, no, 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 that's going right in the garbage. That's junk. You are not putting that on your skin. That is all poison. So I can't remember the recipe that I used. Witch hazel, maybe it had in it. I can't remember. But it might have had vinegar in it. I can't remember. But there's easy solutions. There's solutions to everything. You also brought up fragrance in so many different products. How about fragrance in garbage bags, which drives me absolutely crazy? They're putting these I can't even touch them. They're putting them in dog bags that you have to pick up, their poops with. I can't, touching those makes me cringe because they're full of chemicals. Women's sanitary products, chemicals, they have to scent those as well, in addition to them being bleached in Clorox. So it's a matter of, I mean, we're talking about so many different products, but really the bottom line to everything is knowing what you are buying. What is it that's in that product? The label on a product is so important. It's not the front of the product. It's not whether it has aloe in it. It's not whether it's scented with rose or if it says sustainable or natural or good for the earth, all of that's baloney, because you have to turn it around and really see what is it that you are putting on your skin? What is it that you are putting in your mouth? What is it that you're bringing into your home to spray to clean? Because it's not necessarily the one product that you're using that potentially could cause problems with your health down the road. It's the cumulative effect of all of these products that you're breathing in constantly, that you're washing your hair with, that you're putting on your lips, your skin, your makeup, your deodorant, shaving cream. Men are part of this as well. Typically, a woman in one day will put over 160 chemicals on her body in one day from the products that we use. Men is more like 130, but that's just products that you're using to get ready to go out the door. That is not now what you're breathing in when you go out the door. That's not what you're eating. That's not the water you're drinking. That's not the food that you're consuming throughout the day. And your body has to process chemicals in your, when you're putting them on you, in you, they're going, our skin's our largest organ. So that's the biggest concern. Yes. Do I color my hair? I color my hair, but I color it with something that I know is not as toxic as some of the other stuff out there on the market. I find Madison Reed is what I use. It's well known in the United States. I do it myself. But it's using the least amount of chemicals to get rid of my gray hair. Am I going to eat dessert sometimes that I know is decadent and full of whatever's in there? Yes, it's okay. But it's making sure you're starting to become aware of what you are putting in your body and around your body all day long. Taking those little baby steps, one step at a time, to make those changes is the key, and not to get overwhelmed at all.
I'm really loving this topic, because this is one of the soapboxes that I have been getting on periodically for a good few years now, and my focus has been very much on the food that we're eating. And I started this journey through picking up a book by accident. It was called Swindled, and I can't remember who the author was, and I thought it was about gambling and bits and pieces. I didn't realize it was about food, but what they've been putting into food. And you think it's only been happening the last sort of 20 years. It's been going on for hundreds of years. And reading that, I just turned to my husband and said, right, that's it. We're going to deal with food. And like you said, it can get so overwhelming. So we actually started with bread. We started with bread because that was one of the main ingredients that especially my husband was eating. And we've been making our own bread ever since. We go to the local farm shop and get organic flour, so we make our own bread. And we've just taken it slowly from there. And it's very much, where do you buy your food? Can you go to farmers markets? And I've also last year started to look at the cosmetic side. So I make my own shampoo, my own conditioner, and I haven't quite got to all the cleaning products. I've done like little bits. And like you said, it is really easy to make it. Once you've made it, and you have, for me, I have a little supply so that I can just make them when I need. But once you've made it and realized it's not as difficult, it's the first time, but it's the first time when you try anything. It's like, when I said I'm now want to make shampoo and conditioner, I just thought, how am I going to do that? And what am I going to do? And you just find it out. And YouTube's a wonderful thing. There are so many. Especially American farmsteaders seem to be doing a lot of these videos that can help, and it does make a huge difference. We don't shop at the supermarkets anymore, and you notice the taste. for us it was taste, and it's very much is what is in that food. And as you said, there are the loopholes that companies can use, and citrus is the big one. You don't know what's in that, but it says citric acid, and it can be anything in that. And it can feel so overwhelming and so difficult. And at the moment now, I know here in the UK, and I think in America as well, it's what they called printed meat is going to come out. And yeah, it's not meat that you get from an animal, but they've actually created this meat. I think it's even beyond processed. I mean, I know you get processed stuff, but it's beyond that, and there's plastic in it, and it's horrendous. And the thing is, it is so vast, because like you said, it's cosmetics, it's cleaning products, it's food, it's everything we consume, dress, feel throughout a day. But I think I like how you said start somewhere. I mean, for us, we started with food. We started with bread, basically. And once we'd got the hang of bread, then it was like, okay, now let's start with the next thing. And last year, sometime, it was borax, something is going into the cows to stop them farting, but that's going into the dairy products, which is known to cause cancer. So it's okay, where are we getting our milk, and are we sure that the milk is not using the farmers are not using this product? Because we can't always get milk from the farm shop, we can't always get cheese or butter, but it's just knowing what's in it. And you don't necessarily have to look at everything. Just start with what's your main products, or what do you use a lot of? Okay, how can I get rid of that? Like you said, cleaning products are a great one, because you normally use 50 million bottles for 3 counter spaces.
Yep.
Get rid of that, make your own, and that starts there. Maybe I should have gone that route instead of the food way, because food is so complicated. And I mean, I'm just really grateful that I'm not a vegan, or I don't have any intolerances of food. So I think it's slightly easier. But, just looking at the ingredients. And recently, my husband was looking at something and he said, do you really know what's in bread? I'm like, yeah, sawdust and everything else. And he says, no, but there's new ingredients that they're putting in bread. And it was like, oh my God, it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's not getting better. They're not being more kinder to their consumers. They are trying to make things cheaper and charge you more for it. And I think now more than ever, we've got to become aware of what we're eating. And it's not, if you're a meat eater, and I'm a meat eater, how's your chickens growing up? Are they pecking outdoors? Are they battery chickens? Is your cow grass fed? Does your beef come from there? Or, are they full of antibiotics? And I think it is so important. And one of the things that I've realized in my journey with this is where you buy your food as well. I think that is so important. There are some health shops here in the UK, which I wouldn't rely on them being 100% healthy. They do still use a lot of chemicals and mass-produced stuff. And I think there's a little bit of a fine line that they cross. They're not as bad, but they're not as good as they could be for a health food shop. But I think it's being aware of where are you getting your products, who is supplying them. It's nice to see some beautiful meat displayed. Sorry for all the vegetarians out there that I'm talking a lot about meat, but you see that lovely, meat displayed, and it's normally full of dye. It's been washed in ammonia to get rid of all the germs, and then they shove it full of dye. And it's really can be deceiving on how food should look as well. And I know that some places find it even difficult to do biodynamic, to buy biodynamic farm stuff as opposed to, and then organic. I'm talking mostly about UK. I think it's different in Europe and America. But organic doesn't mean the same thing here in the UK as it does in South Africa. Organic in the UK is not as good as in South Africa. I'm originally from South Africa. And that's something that I noticed, because you think organic's good, but there's a lot of chemicals that they are allowed to use in organic products. So again, it's where are you buying your food from? Because supermarkets spray their warehouses where they store food to keep it fresh. And one of the things that I was told a long time ago is if it's in your fridge and it goes rotten really quickly, that means it's fresh. Tomatoes don't last 3 weeks without going rotten. And that's how you know if you've got fresh food or not, because fresh food goes off quickly. Our bread within 2 or 3 days, it's done. It's not
Right.
3 weeks. So I just want to say thank you for sharing about, especially about the cleaning products. And I mean, like you, this is very much a soapbox, and it's trying to educate myself as well as educating friends and family on, hang on a minute, don't just buy that lovely sliced fruit in the shop because it's convenient. What's in it? And the argument I get is, yeah, but it's fresh fruit. No, it's not fresh fruit. It's not brown. It hasn't got that oxidization on it. It's not fresh. It's been sprayed with stuff to make it look fresh for days. And I think it's trying to get people to realize, to understand, because there is that trust in, that naive trust in food suppliers, that they will provide healthy food, the healthy options. And I think that's got to be broken, is, hang on a minute, no, you're lying to me, I can't trust you anymore. Where can I go where that I can really trust in what it is? So you've helped with the cleaning products and starting there. But if somebody like me who most really wants to start with food, what would be your suggestion or advice? I mean, I know we started bread, but it was just, I don't know why we started with bread. Like I said, I think it's because my husband ate a lot of sandwiches, so we start with bread. But is there another way that you maybe would suggest, or how can one start to find all this? I mean, I know there's YouTube, but YouTube can feel so overwhelming sometimes, and so much information. Is how can somebody start to look or learn about the food that they're buying, or where can they go, or how can they do it?
Yeah, that's a good question, because food can be overwhelming for people, of course. Luckily, my husband and I are very good cooks. We cook all week long and we love it. Some people don't love it. But once you start doing some of your own meal preps, we do some on Sundays. I make a soup that lasts for days, and I make a salad that lasts for days. So we're not overwhelmed with, the beginning of the week when work week is kind of hectic. But the fruits and vegetables, they're if they're not organic and you don't have access to organic fruits and vegetables, then stick with the ones that have hard surfaces that you can actually hopefully wash off the majority of the chemicals that are sprayed on these crops, such as apples, oranges, bananas, things like that, mango. Not to say that they're not injecting the roots of these crops with herbicides and pesticides, but your strawberries, your blueberries, your raspberries, things like that are sprayed constantly, I would never buy non-organic. That's just me personally. but that's what I'm going to recommend. Environmental Working Group, and everybody can have access to this, ewg.org. It's been an organization, been around for a long time. Yes, they're based in the US, but they have a lot of resources on there for people, and they call it the Dirty Dozen. And every year they come out with the Dirty Dozen recommendations on what to buy organic. The Dirty Dozen, raspberries and strawberries are always on there. We used to live near a strawberry farm out in California. We were out there for a while. And if anybody were to see how these strawberry farms are sprayed all day long with guys in white suits with chemicals, and you are eating those chemicals. They're going into the skin of the strawberries. So starting with something like that, where with your fruits and vegetables, farmers markets, go to your farmers, talk to your farmer, ask. Everybody's got farmers markets. Wherever you live, there's farmers markets. Go to them. There's still, we're still in a little bit of a cold season here, but they're going to pop up soon. And we have them here for at least 6 months. Talk to the farmer, see if they use pesticides and herbicides. Ask them. They will tell you. They have to tell you. And I'm sure there's some at all farmers markets that are also organic as well. And buy fresh. Start learning about some of these other products that are out there. I'll go to the farmer's market and I see something I don't know. I ask them, what is this? And then they'll tell you how to cook it. Have fun with it. It can be a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be daunting. But the number one thing you have to start doing, just like any product you put on your skin, you have to read the ingredients, just like your husband did. Look at these ingredients in bread. They're putting so many horrible ingredients in bread to preserve it. You are eating those preservatives. And so start buying. If you don't want to make your own bread, find a bakery that is not using all these preservatives in bread. You're lucky over in the European Union and UK that you're not getting inundated with glyphosate like we are over here. Glyphosate is a chemical that is banned over in Europe. Here it's still not. It's crazy to us. It's known to cause cancer. It is in the majority of it's in pesticides called Roundup that is sprayed on so many crops here and specifically used on wheat for our bread. So many people in the United States go over to Europe and eat your bread and they don't get sick or they can eat it. Here it's crazy. There's over 200,000 lawsuits. It's nuts. But reading your ingredients, looking at what's on the back of that box, can, or whatever you're buying that's processed foods, what are they making that macaroni and cheese with? That a powdered cheese that goes with your macaroni. I mean, that's powder. What is in that powder? What is in the soup that you're buying that's in a can? What kind of can is it in? Is it BPA free? BPA is something that's found in plastic. That's something found in the inside of cans where that soup is in. So it's starting to realize and look at. Don't throw everything away. Look at what you're buying to eat. A lot of people buy fast foods from the supermarket. That's what's on the shelves. They're on the shelves for months, if not years. What's in them that keeps a carrot, a pea in a can of soup with chicken that you don't have to eat for 2 years? I mean, sometimes it's just a little bit common sense, but some people aren't used to that. And you just have to start somewhere. Like you started with bread. Maybe you start with your fruits and vegetables and start looking at what you're buying that potentially you could start saving yourself from eating all these chemicals. There was a test done on this family that they ran a test on them, and I know this has been done at a few different places, but they tested the amount of chemicals that were in their body. And that's another thing that is very big now, that you can test chemicals in your body, either through your urine or your blood. I did mine 15 years ago. I'll tell you that story in a second. But so they tested the family, all high levels of BPA, which is plastic, other chemicals they found in the kids and the adults. And the wonderful thing about these chemicals when you're eating them, they do get processed pretty quickly. That doesn't say they're not affecting your organs and making your body work harder to get rid of them. But they switched the family to all organic food, and all those chemicals exited their body, and no longer were those chemicals in their body. So it's fascinating to see that there are changes that you can make, even from years past of eating bad or whatnot, that moving ahead in the future, you can make changes and feel a lot better and be a lot healthier. So BPA was found in me, and I'm like, BPA, I don't store in plastic. I don't use plastic. Where am I getting plastic from? And unfortunately, it was from our coffee pot. And the inside of a coffee pot is all plastic. And when that heats up the water is going through plastic containers and down into the coffee, just like those plastic pods that they're using in coffee pots. Some are metal or stainless steel, I hope, or whatever they are. But so we ended up getting rid of that, and now we use a French press, stainless steel French press. So it's just paying attention to little things like that that could be getting into your body. Plastic is a huge problem in this world, huge. And it's in so many different items that we can't get away from, but you can get away from using it when it touches your food. So you never want to store food in plastic. That's a quick change that you can make. You always want to store it in glass containers or stainless steel containers. Get rid of that plastic that you're putting your food in, because your food is sitting in that plastic and the plastic is leaching into your food. Never heat anything up in plastic if you still can't get away from the plastic. So glass containers are so cheap. I mean, it's just making that quick change to a glass container. So that's my 2 cents on food.
No, I absolutely love when you were talking about, the fruits and vegetables, because that's my experience. And I grew up on a farm, so we would be growing everything ourselves, and there would be zero chemicals. There would be natural fertilizer. We would be going above and beyond to manually try to, if there's any bugs, if there's anything, you would deal with them manually, or would have some traditional ways of pesticides that are, again, natural, non-chemical. And when I moved away, when I went to UK, when I went to uni, obviously I was, young, excited to be a new country, excited. UK for me had so much ready meals, was so excited by obviously the variety. And obviously it is designed to be addictive. But one thing that really shocked me was, even in UK, when I would go to farmers markets, the fruits and vegetables, and for me specifically strawberries and peaches and apricots, because we grew so much of them in our garden, they would just never taste the way I'm used to. They would never. And that got me thinking, like, well, they're technically local, they're technically in season. Why they're still not? And then you start looking into, again, how far our produce has been traveling, how much of, not only as it grows, but then how long we often store some stuff. Like, if you know how long potatoes or onions or things are being stored before they go to, or what happens to bananas to make them ripe. And my mom worked in a vegetable wholesale company for a little while, and oh gosh, we've learned a lot about the practices of the fruit and vegetable industry there as well. So for me, I now have the practice of looking for wonky vegetables, wonky, imperfect color, imperfect shapes. If it's not looking like the perfect AI generated shiny apple, then it's probably healthy. If it's looking like this artificial image, that it's like perfect polish, it's gonna not taste as good, because the wonky ones, they're just delicious. They're just so flavorful. when they're grown organically, slowly, naturally, in season. So for me, that's one lesson I've learned, and I always tell people, look for imperfect vegetables, imperfect fruits, things that just look a bit off, because normal food easily bruises, easily goes off, doesn't look perfectly, doesn't have a perfect shape. But if you smell it, and you will tell if it's normal, natural, healthy or not.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly correct. It's amazing that I mean, sometimes I'm in a supermarket out of town or something, and I look at these fruits and vegetables and they look fake. And I don't want to eat fake vegetables. I don't want to eat fake fruits. I definitely look for the ones like wonky. I like the word. Perfect explanation.
Yeah, it's all about the wonky vegetables. And I mean, we've grown vegetables and no two carrots came out the same size, looking the same
Right.
way. They had really interesting shapes.
Yep.
But it's about just really looking, and as Lenka says, real fruit bruises easily, and no potato or carrots or parsnips or anything like that look exactly the same and the same size and the same radius. It's natural. It's like humans. No two humans look exactly the same. Okay, maybe if you twins, but the thing is, you don't. Every vegetable looks different, and I think that maybe might be a good way to start, is go for the wonky fruit and the vinegar and the soda powder to clean, just to start with. But thank you so much for really sharing all this, because it is so valuable and it impacts everybody.
Hop on to our Patreon account to get this episode's amazing and wonderful gold nugget.
So for our listeners, if they've been if they've been listening to you and they're thinking, you know what, I want to start this journey, or I've been on this journey for a while, I'm a bit stuck, how can people find you?
Absolutely. And I'm very accessible. So website is thegreenlivinggurus.com. Social media, Green Living Gurus. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. We have a private Facebook page. You're more than welcome to join that. Healthy Living and Toxic Free. But all this stuff is listed on the website. My podcast is Green Living with Tea, and you can follow me there. And if you have questions or comments or anything, I engage with all of my listeners, and I love to help people. I love to help people live a much healthier life and avoiding as many toxic chemicals as possible.
Absolutely. We'll put all the links in the description below so people can easily find it and click it and go and connect with you and listen to your podcast. That's how I found you. I found your podcast. I was like, okay, you have so many amazing guests, so you will have like the collective knowledge of them, and you can share and give us an insight and get us on this journey of being a bit more aware. So thank you so much for everything. I know this episode possibly has been a little bit negative because we're looking all the bad things, all the things not to do. But yes, it is in the desire to have happier, healthier, more fulfilling life. But I want to ask you one final question. What is it that gives you life right now? What is it that inspires you, lifts you up, brings you positivity? What it is that gives you life?
What gives me life is I feel great. I know it's because of what I do. I know my energy level's high. I don't have all these things in me to affect my mental state, my body, but I don't want people to feel that it's hard or what have I done? Oh my God, I poisoned my family. You haven't. It's just become aware. I like to just try to stay positive, try to just move in the right direction, take one step in the right direction. And that's what I love to help people with. I have a passion for giving back to people, to helping people, to welcoming. I want people to live long and healthy, happy lives. Like I feel like I am going to do my best at doing that. And that's all. And Mother Nature. Mother Nature is as important to me as my household is. Mother Nature is in a tough spot right now, and she's telling us, she speaks to us. You know, there's so much going on in this world right now that she's angry. My mother would always tell me, Mother Nature is angry. Look at all these storms. We've never had these years ago. So it's taking care of myself and taking care of the environment at the same time, which is really important to me. And that's what makes me happy, along with my red wine. I do like my red wine, I have to say. But I will tell you, I only drink organic red wine. That's my number one thing, too. So we didn't even get into wine. My all-time favorite thing, of course, is red wine. But so those are my lasting comments for you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your energy, your wisdom, your advice, your knowledge. And I'm sure that we will have you on again to dig deep into this, because it's such a huge topic. It's not a small topic, because you can even split it into many different topics. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us, your energy with us, and your wisdom with us.
You are very welcome. And I hope next time I'm on, because this is such a huge topic, we can talk about the kitchen, we can talk about beauty supplies, whatever. Next time I'm on, I hope my book is out there, because it will be available. It's going to detox your home, simple steps to a healthier home. And basically it goes through everything in your home and how you can make it a healthier home. So hopefully next time, knock on wood, that it's available all over the world.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And for our listeners, what have you got from today? This is a huge topic. And I know Lenka and I, we've had many guests talking about health, gut health, physical health. But this is an overall health. We've touched on cleaning products. We've touched on, the food that we eat. But it is such a huge topic. Is this something that you are interested in doing? Have you found places or ways that you can detoxify yourself, through the food that you're eating? Do you make your own cleaning products? What have you done? Or is this something that you are only starting to come into? We would love to know your thoughts. We'd love to know what you think, or even what aha moments did you get from today. Do reach out to myself or to Lenka or in the comments, and please share with us your stories, your advice or knowledge that you've gained, or ask us some questions. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Here is your reminder about our Patreon, where you get all our really beautiful gold nuggets. And today we had a fantastic gold nugget to share. Subscribe to Patreon. The link is in the description below. Hop into the gold nugget section to access all our wonderful gold nuggets. There is also a free section where you can access snippets from past episodes, as well as some great content with tips, advice, and beautiful and wonderful wisdom. Come and join up and be part of the Into Your Life community. We would love to see you there.